गुड। ये फैन ऑन कर लो लाइव। Good morning. Morning to everyone. Good morning to students who are attending class online. Welcome to the class. So we have finished India and EU. EU is done, right? Now we'll see the ties between America and India and Africa as a continent. Clear? So historically we have discussed related to India and Africa, right? It's a long back centuries cultural tie-up between India and Africa. Trade relation is also very long back. Civilizational trade is there conducted between India and Sri Lanka, South of Africa, right? Africa is also been participated in the NAM formation of NAM, right? They are also participant of NAM. India has also helped many African nations to gain their independence, right? Which is one of the policy of the NAM which India follows within this. Okay, so this already we have discussed, right? Now let's write the relations between India and Africa. Any questions from the last class? Anything? Anyone? Nice. And one thing that have you started writing answer writing, right? Yes. Means continuously on the daily basis, na? So I mean now you're in very hopefully in a comfortable positions to write the answer, or material is with you, right? Chaliye then. Just only you need to and update with the current development, nothing else. And updations will be done under the heading, like if there is certain updations on the trade or technological department, then just add there. This is sufficient. We have also written challenges and all these has been completed. Okay. So write down relations between India and Africa. First relation is economic cooperations. Want to write history? चलिए लिख लीजिए. Write some historical or introductions related to India and Africa. India and Africa have a long history of interactions. Morning. So this is India and Africa. So India and Africa have a long history of interactions, primarily through trade routes. Connecting Indian Ocean region, primarily through trade routes connecting Indian Ocean regions and East African coast. Next, India played East African coast. Next, India played a significant role in supporting African nation struggle. India's played a significant role in supporting African nations struggle for independence. India played a significant role in supporting African nations struggle for independence. Nations struggle for independence. Next, India and Africa, or India and many African countries, were founding member of non-aligned movement. Founding member of non-aligned movement which emerged during Cold War era. NAM, non-aligned movement, NAM, which emerged during Cold War era. Okay, this is the introductions what we can write. Now the first relations is economic cooperations. Introductions to the India and Africa. Economic cooperations. India has been one of the major investor in Africa. India has been one of the major investor in Africa with investments in sectors like telecommunications, energy, infrastructure, agriculture and manufacturing. Agriculture and manufacturing. Clear? So this is an economic type. Next is energy security. इंडिया अफ्रीका हम कर रहे हैं. नेक्स्ट इज एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी. इंडिया सीक्स टू सिक्योर इट्स एनर्जी सप्लाईज its energy supplies by partnering with African countries in oil and gas sector. Partnering with oil and gas sector. Next point. This include long-term contract for oil and gas. This include long-term contract for oil and gas imports and collaboration in renewable energy projects. Done. Okay. And collaboration in renewable energy project. Clear? So this is energy security. Next is agriculture and food security. India looks to leverage Africa's ample agricultural land. India looks to leverage 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 Africa's ample agricultural land to address its own food security concern. To address its own food security concern. Clear? Next point. There is a potential for cooperation in areas. पानी पी लीजिए. There is a potential for cooperation in areas such as agricultural research, technology transfer and capacity building. Technology transfer, agricultural research, technology transfer, and capacity building. Next is heading mining and mineral resource. Mining and mineral resource. African countries are rich in mineral resources. African countries are rich in mineral resources, have historical ties with India in this sector. African countries are rich in mineral resources and have historical ties with India in this sector. Historical ties with India in this sector. Next point. India's industries rely on African resource. India's industries rely on African resource like iron, copper, aluminium and zinc. Aluminium and zinc. Clear? So this is economic cooperations. Okay. Next is development cooperations. लेकिन हम फिर भी एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट करते हैं. Not that not that much of quantity we produce. Development corporations. Development corporations. Next heading is development corporations. Now first subheading under development corporations. Development में क्या क्या आ जाएगा? Human infrastructure, like capacity building, because development is means growth in every sector. So first is capacity building and human resource development. First subheading under development cooperation is capacity building and human resource development. First point, India offers scholarship. India offers scholarship, comma, training programs, and technical assistance to African countries. India offers scholarship, training programs, and technical assistance to African countries to enhance their human resource capabilities. To enhance their human resource capabilities in sectors like healthcare, education, information technology, and agriculture. ठीक है. Next is infrastructure development and agriculture. Next subheading is infrastructure development. India supports infrastructure project in Africa through aid and concessional loans. India support infrastructure project in Africa through aid and aid and concessional loans. Next one, these areas focus on transportations, means infrastructure in transportations, power generation, telecommunications, and water management. Transportations, power generations, telecommunications, and water management. Clear? So this is infrastructure development. Water management, जैसे हार्वेस्टिंग, वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग हो गया, या आपका वाटर मैनेजमेंट क्या क्या आ सकता है? रेन हार्वेस्टिंग, कंजर्वेशन ऑफ वाटर, लेस यूजेस लाइक ड्रिप इरिगेशन को हम वहाँ इसराइल से लेकर के वहाँ भी दे रहे हैं. So this is water management because most of the African nations have a scarcity of the water resource, है ना? So they need to learn about this. ठीक है. Next is health and pharmaceuticals. Health and pharmaceuticals. India provides medical expertise. Health and pharmaceuticals. India provides medical expertise, comma, pharmaceuticals and affordable healthcare solution. Pharmaceuticals, comma, India provides medical expertise, comma, pharmaceuticals, comma, and affordable healthcare solutions to African countries. Through healthcare solution to African countries through partnershiping in research and development, manufacturing, research and development R&D, manufacturing and supply of essential medicines. And supply of essential medicines. This is development cooperations. आवाज नहीं आ रही थी आगे. Next is political and diplomatic cooperations. Political and diplomatic cooperations. Now, one thing you might be knowing that India is the largest contributor in UN peacekeeping forces, right? And most of this Indian peacekeeping forces were engaged in African nations due to the political instability in Africa, or you can say that due to the piracies in Somalia and everything, right? Through UN peace. Clear? So first is United Nations and international forum. First have it, yes. UN, United Nations and international forum. International forum. India and African countries collaborate and support. India and African countries collaborate and support each others on various international platforms. Including United Nations, international platforms, including United Nations, to address common challenges and promote shared interests. Common challenges and promote shared interest. Like example, you can say that India is supporting South Africa, induction of South Africa into UNSC, BRICS. BRIC है ना एक forum, Brazil, India, China, South Africa, and so through it is these Brazil and all South Africa, and they are developing. There is huge potential. Yes, matlab engagement. So, and this it is also advocating UNSC reforms, and it also advocating that South Africa should also be inducted in the along with the India UNSC. Next point. India is supporting induction of South Africa into UNSC, United Nations Security Council. ठीक है. Next subheading is peacekeeping and security. And security. India has been actively involved in UN peacekeeping operation in African country. India has been actively involved in UN peacekeeping operation. In UN peacekeeping operation in African countries. In African countries, contributing troops and sharing its expertise. Troops, army personnel, contributing troops and sharing its expertise in capacity building, training, and conflict resolution. And sharing its expertise in capacity building, training, and conflict resolutions. ठीक है, clear? Next is soft power and cultural exchange. Next subheading is soft power and cultural exchange. India's soft power, including its diverse culture. India's soft power, including its diverse culture, comma, traditional medicine, and yoga plays a significant role and yoga plays a significant role in building bridges and strengthening ties with African nations. Bridges means gap जो है that is, and strengthening ties with African countries or nations. Okay? So this is political and diplomatic relations. Now next is regional grouping and forums. Regional grouping and forums for India-Africa relations. So here we will write down the different international and regional forum in which both India and Africa were engaged. एग्जाम्पल के लिए बता सकते हैं ब्रिक्स, एक तो ब्रिक्स, देन आईएसए इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस में भी अफ्रीका इज बिन पार्ट. ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन जैसे आयुष हो गया आपका, होम्योपैथिक हो गया, आयुर्वेदा हो गया, यूनान, दीज आर द ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन. उनका भी ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन है कुछ, आई मीन एंशियंट मेडिसिन. हम एक्सचेंज एक्सपर्टीज कर हुए. हम जब भी ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन, आपको जहां भी कल्चर रिलेटेड यू नीड टू राइट डाउन बिटवीन द कल्चरल सॉफ्ट पावर, राइट. तो मोस्टली यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन कल्चर, इन्फ्लुएंसिंग द वर्ल्ड थ्रू इंडियाज कल्चर. तो कल्चर में बहुत कुछ आ जाता है, राइट. लाइक योगा, वन ऑफ द कल्चर विच, मेडिसिन, ट्रेडिशनल मेडिसिन, देन पीपल टू पीपल टाई, diaspora and how it can do, and holding each other's or respecting each other's uh, national importance, independence day and ever. This is cultural ties, whether you can. So we are talking about forums like BRICS ho gaya, like, then there is an African Union which also they are been engaged with India, and then there is an India and African forum, summit forum. So there are a lot of things to be written under this, through which both is been engaged और जहां ये आपस में बात कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. So first is India Africa Forum Summit. We are writing heading, आपने लिखा है regional groupings and forum for India Africa relations. The first sub heading is, first forum is India Africa Forum Summit, IAFS. ब्रैकेट में लिखिए IAFS. Yes, summit. First held in 2008. India Africa Forum Summit, IAFS bracket, because for the future reference we will use this IAFS on. First held in 2008 in Delhi. Next point, IAFS is a major platform for India-Africa cooperations. IAFS is a major platform for India-Africa cooperations. Next, it is a summit level meeting held periodically. It is a summit level meeting held periodically. Level meeting held periodically. Periodically with equal interval time. To enhance IAFSC is a major IAFS is a major platform for India and Africa cooperations. It is a summit level meeting held periodically to enhance and strengthen the partnership. To enhance and strengthen the partnership between India and African countries. Clear? So this is IAFS. Next is BRICS. BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS is a grouping of 5 major emerging economies. BRICS is a grouping of 5 major emerging economies. Which one was last to be added? South Africa. That earlier it was grouping of 4. BRICS. Then BRICS was South Africa was added. BRICS provide opportunity for next point. BRICS provide opportunity for economic cooperation, trade, and investment between India and African nations. Trade, economic cooperation, and investment between India and African nations. Next summit is Asia Africa Growth Corridor. Asia Africa Growth Corridor. AAGS. Growth Corridor. AAGS is an economic cooperation agreement between AAGS is an economic cooperation between India and Japan. Aimed at promoting socio-economic development. Aimed at promoting socio-economic development in Asia and Africa. Aimed at promoting socio-economic development in Asia and Africa. Next point. जापान. ठीक है. दोनों के बीच में ही है, लेकिन ये लोग दोनों मिलकर के एशिया और अफ्रीका के बीच में कॉपरेशन डेवलपमेंट करना चाहते. यस. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आप लिख रहे हैं AAGS फोकसेस ऑन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट. AAGS focuses on infrastructure development, digital connectivity, and capacity building in African countries. Capacity building in African nations. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट grouping is International Solar Alliance, and this was launched as an initiative of ISA, is an initiative of इंडिया एंड फ्रांस, दोनों के कोलैबोरेशन से आईएसए बनी थी. हाँ, दैट इज इन दिल्ली, इंडिया. ISA is an initiative launched by India and France to promote. और आप देखिए एक चीज कि अफ्रीका बहुत पोटेंशियल है of the solar power generation. Why? Because it is only the continent जहाँ से तीनों लाइन जो the three imaginary line जो है, that is equator, Cancer and Capricorn, all passes through. Okay. Now there is river Zairo cuts twice. जब आप ज्योग्राफी में पढ़ेंगे the map of the physical geography of Africa, so there are river, right, which cut it twice the Capricorn. This has been asked already in the examination. ये geographical perspective मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. So because of this कि Africa lies in the all the three lines, it is huge potentials of having a renewable source. यहाँ wind energy का भी अच्छा potentials है, solar का भी अच्छा potentials, right? Okay. Here you can find all types of vegetative, evergreen forest भी आपको मिल जाएगा, the lines where the equator crosses. Okay. Desert भी है आपका, Sahara to the north and northwestern region, right? A tropical climate भी आपको tropics में मिल जाएंगे, Africa and all, South Africa and all having it. Because of this, it has a very high potential. ISA is an initiative launched by India and France to promote solar energy deployment globally. ISA is an initiative launched by India and France to promote solar energy deployment globally. Next point, it provides a platform for collaboration and technology transfer in the field of solar energy for African nations. Solar energy for African nations. ठीक है. Next forum is India Africa Science and Technology Initiative. India Africa Science and Technology Initiative, IAS TI. Science and Technology Initiatives, IAS, India Africa Science and Technology Initiative, IASTI. It is an initiative that promotes cooperation between India and African countries in the field of science and technology. India and African nation, the field of science and technology. Next point, it includes various programs and activities to support. It includes various programs and activities support research and capacity building in science and technology. Research and technology, research and capacity building in science and technology. Next is regional economic communities. Regional economic communities. Write down the name of the regional economic community. First is Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. ECOWAS. Second is Southern African Development Communities. Southern African Development Communities, SADC. Next, East African Communities, EAC. East African Communities, ENC. ठीक है, so these are few economic community in African nations. India engaged with these regional groupings. India engaged with these regional groupings to promote trade, investment, India engaged with these groupings to promote trade, investment and cooperation in various sectors. Cooperation in various sectors. ठीक है? So these are the areas of okay. Now write down the challenges between India and so first challenge China. China. So first challenge competition with China. First challenge is competition with China. अभी धीरे धीरे आने वाला. China. China has established a significant presence in Africa. China has established a significant presence in Africa. And India faces competition from China in terms of investment, and India faces competitions from China in terms of investment, trade and influence in Africa. India faces competition from China in terms of investment, trade, and influence Africa. Next challenge is limited resource. अब चाइना के कंपैरेटिव में इंडिया के पास फाइनेंशियल है, अफ्रीका एक ह्यूज पोटेंशियल टू द जहाँ पर इन्वेस्टमेंट करना है. इन द लैक ऑफ इकोनॉमिक इट हैज आल्सो ए लिमिटेड रिसोर्स. तो फिर यहाँ पर चाइना आउटकास्ट कर रहा है इंडिया को इन इन्वेस्टमेंट. राइट डाउन इंडियाज रिसोर्सेज फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस. इंडियाज रिसोर्सेज फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस. And infrastructure development in Africa. India's resources providing financial assistance and infrastructure development in Africa are limited with comparison to China's vast capacity. Vast capacity building. And because of this, that most of the project of Africa goes to China. बस ज़्यादा पैसा है तो ठीक है नहीं. Compares to China, then you can understand कि चाइना के पास ज़्यादा पैसा है. The development project China, China has more capacity. Next is investment concern. एक तो लिमिटेड रिसोर्स है इंडिया के पास. अब इंडियन कंपनी जो है वो अफ्रीका जाना भी नहीं चाहती. रीजन, कंट्रीज ऐसे जो बैंकरप्ट हो, रिटर्न ही वापस नहीं आ. उनको एक डर है अंदर कि अगर हम यहाँ इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं, माई इन्वेस्टमेंट विल बी ड्रेन आउट. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस फियर मेनी प्राइवेट सेक्टर ऑल्सो दे डू नॉट invest enough. Next point, write down the investment concerns. Indian firms may be hesitant to invest in Africa. Firms may be hesitant to invest in Africa due to concern about slow economic growth, high levels of debt, and uncertainties in some African countries about business environment. Uncertainty in some African countries about business environment. Environment. क्योंकि कुछ समय पहले तक कुछ टेररिस्ट ग्रुप जैसे बोको हरम, मैंने बताया था एक टेररिस्ट ग्रुप के बारे में, बोको हरम, दे आर एक्टिव इन अफ्रीका, नाइजेरिया, ये सब एरियाज में जो है वो लोग काफ़ी एक्टिव है. तो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ऑल्सो पायरेसी भी आपका ईस्ट ऑफ अफ्रीका में चल रहा है. पॉलिटिकल डिसेबिलिटी भी है, इंस्टेबिलिटी हम कह सकते हैं. तो दीज आर द मेजर रीजन्स व्हाई इंडियन फर्म्स आर नॉट ready to invest in Africa, or they are very lacking in this. Clear? Next is different priorities. India's focus on Africa is not its primary foreign policy priority. Different priorities. India's focus on Africa is not its primary foreign policy priority. Foreign policy priority, as it also engage with major powers. US. It also engage with major powers. US, EU, and neighboring countries. क्लियर? ठीक है, तो यहाँ यूएस का भी इन्वेस्टमेंट है, यू के साथ भी एंगेजमेंट है, बिकॉज ऑफ दिस नॉट मिस्टेड। और इंडिया ने शुरू से ही प्रायोरिटी अफ्रीका को कम रखा है, सेंट्रल एशिया के और वेस्ट एशिया के बाद वो गई नहीं, लैक ऑफ दिस कनेक्टिविटी। एंड वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम चैलेंजेस इज कि इंटर कनेक्टिविटी बहुत कम है, मतलब वन इन अफ्रीका कंटिनेंट फ्रॉम वन country to another country, the connectivity is very low, road nahi and very uneven terrain and everything, rail everything connectivity, which also pose an challenges। पहले एक तो आप रेल बनाइए, रोड बनाइए, फिर कनेक्टिविटी कीजिए। आपने बनाया, पता चला चाइना आ गया, प्रोजेक्ट उसको मिल गई। सेशल, सेशल, हाँ अब हम, यस नाउ वी आर मूविंग टूवर्ड्स, प्रायोरिटी हमने पहले किया नहीं, नाउ वी आर मूविंग टूवर्ड्स। कल्चरली भी हम कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज मडागास्कर एंड मालदीव्स, सेशल्स इज फुल ऑफ इंडियन डायस्पोरा। ड्यूरिंग ब्रिटिशर्स अगर आप देखें तो दे ट्रांसपोर्ट अ चीप लेबर फ्रॉम इंडिया टू द अफ्रीकन नेशन फॉर द डायमंड माइनिंग। माइनिंग सेक्टर बहुत, यू कैन से दैट इट इज प्रोमिनेंट इन दिस एरियाज। कोल माइनिंग हो गया आपका, 3 टाइप्स ऑफ कोल है ना आपका, बिटुमिनस, मैं टाइप्स ऑफ कोल की बात कर रहा हूं, एंथ्रासाइट, बेटोसाइट एंड लिग्नाइट। एंड इंडिया वो फिर अलग है, एंड इंडिया प्रोड्यूसेस द 3rd ग्रेड कोल, तो हमें हाई ग्रेड कोल इंपोर्ट करना पड़ता है, बहुत कम है केरल में भी, लेकिन हम उस सफिशिएंटली नहीं है, वी आर नॉट सफिशिएंट। हम ऑस्ट्रेलिया से कर रहे हैं, अफ्रीका से कर रहे हैं, तो दे आर हाईली प्रोड्यूसिंग, so this is also, so they have been, so because of the Indian diaspora, now we are culture, now we are practicing soft power, जिसकी वजह से हम सेशल्स, मालदीव, मेडागास्कर, अफ्रीका के साथ जुड़ना चाह रहे हैं कि हमको अगर सुपर पावर बनना है तो वी नीड टू गेट टच विद दीज ऑल स्मॉल एंड डेवलपिंग नेशन। अब हम अमेरिका को तो लीडर नहीं हो सकते, वी कैन नॉट बिकम एन लीडर ऑफ अमेरिका एंड यू, वो हमें क्यों बनाएंगे, yes or no? So in this global south we have been becoming a leader of this, champion of this, so for that we have adopted a soft power engagement through cultural ties, diaspora, through पर अब स्ट्रेंथ कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। so next challenge, the last challenge is lack of connectivity। lack of connectivity, city to city connectivity between India and Africa is lacking, city to city connectivity between India and Africa is lacking, hindering people to people contact, hindering people to people contact, and impending the growth of mutual understanding and cooperations, and impending the growth of mutual understanding and cooperations. Mutual understanding and cooperation. So these are the challenges. Okay. Now what should we do to enhance the relations between India and Africa? Means way forward. So there is a committee which has presented its reports in 2023. That is, a committee name is Vivekanand International Foundations, VIF, which was established by the India and Africa. So now we will write the report of the VIF, who has suggested how to engage more with the Africa, or enhance our relations. ठीक है. So write down way forward or solutions, और क्या किया जा सकता है to be done to enhance the relations between India and Africa. So write down introductions in this, that a 20-member African expert group established, a 20-member African expert group, African expert group established by the Vivekanand International Foundation, VIF, Vivekanand International Foundation, VIF, presented the report, or write down the report name, presented the report name inverted comma में write down name of the report in inverted comma, that India Africa Partnership, semicolon means दो डॉट दे दीजिए, challenges, achievements and roadmap 2023, India Africa Partnership, semicolon, achievement, challenges and roadmap 2023. So we'll write the solutions provided by this VIF committee. Achievement, challenges and roadmap 2023. Right. Now write down recommendations of roadmap 2023. Recommendations of roadmap 2023. First recommendations, dialogue with African Union. Dialogue with African Union. So it says India's external ministers, write down India's external ministers should launch, a strategic dialogue with chairperson of African Unions. ठीक है. So who should start a dialogue? India's external minister, foreign affairs minister, with the chairperson of African Union's AU. Second recommendations, AU's entry into G20. ठीक है. Write down. G20 members should develop consensus among themselves G20 members should develop consents among themselves. Consents, CONSENSUS, consents, CONSENSUS, consents on AU's entry into G20 as a full member. And India is also doing that. इससे क्या होगा, रिलेशंस, एक स्ट्रॉन्ग रिलेशंस जो स्टैब्लिश्ड होगी. ठीक है. थर्ड सजेशन, डिफेंस एंड सिक्योरिटी कोऑपरेशंस. Governments need to increase the number of defense government needs to increase the number of defense attached deployed in Africa. Attach is ATTACHES. ATTACHES. That is deployment in Africa. Means more trade cooperations in defense. Next, expand dialogue on defense issues. Expand dialogue on defense issues. And expand line of credit. And expand line of credit to facilitate defense export. To facilitate defense export. Clear? Next, this is defense. Next suggestion is economic and development cooperation. Economic and development cooperations. India and Africa trade. India and Africa trade crossed $98 billion in 2022-2023. $98 billion in 2022-2023. Next point. This figure can go up. This figure can go up if access to finance, through creation of inverted comma African Growth Fund AGF is ensured. AGF should ensure. Clear? And the last suggestion is socio-cultural cooperations should be increased through socio-cultural cooperations should be increased through greater interactions between universities, think tanks, civil societies and media. Interactions between universities, think tank, civil society and media. Civil society, think tank, सिविल सोसाइटी, बुद्धिजीवियों के बीच में जो लोग सोचने वाले हैं कैसे और ऑपरेशंस और बड़े वहां के और यहाँ के लोगों के बीच, राइट. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट अंडर द सोशियो कल्चर इज वीजा मेजर्स फॉर अफ्रीकन स्टूडेंट्स who comes to India for higher education should be liberalized. Visa measures, MEASURES, measures for African students who come to India for higher education should be liberalized. Is it clear? So this is India and Africa. So now this is over. Now we will start the groupings. Okay. So for the regional grouping, so we'll do 2-3 groupings like SARC, BIMSTEC, right? Okay. Then SCO. ठीक है. और G20 के लिए थोड़ा इंट्रोडक्शंस देख लेंगे. रेस्ट विल बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड विद द जो भी ऑनगोइंग G20 समिट चल रही है ना, that finally that to be is to be incorporated. So next is SARC. SARC is a South Asian Association of Regional Corporations, and when it was came in, कब बनी थी ये? नेक्स्ट गूगल. अच्छा लेट्स गूगल. कब बने थे सर? 1985. तो वाई थे. तो SARC was formed in 1985, right? Now the member of the SARC nations, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Pakistan and Afghanistan. So all the neighboring nation of India is under the SARC, South Asian Association, because they are falls under the south to the Asia. So there is a regional grouping which came in 1985, right? Now this is an this grouping is to just to give corporations boost to their economic, support each other in crisis. Clear? ठीक है, चलिए. So this is all about SARC. Now I write down India and SARC, established in 1985. Objective of SARC, established in 1985. Members countries लिख लीजिए, the name if you want to write on. Member country, write the full form of the SARC also. South Asian Association of Regional Corporations. ठीक है. और इसके हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ है? हेडक्वार्टर ऑफ SARC इज इन ढाका, बांग्लादेश. वहीं बनी थी ये, established in 1985 in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The headquarter is also in Dhaka. Country names you can write down. Members यहाँ से लिख लीजिए members. South Asian Association of Regional Corporations. Members are India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So total 8 members are there. Now write down objectives of SAARC. To promote the welfare of the people of South Asia and to improve their quality of life. The welfare of the people of South Asia and to improve their quality of life. Quality of life. Next, to accelerate economic growth, social progress and cultural development in the region. To accelerate, next is to accelerate economic growth, social progress and cultural development in the region. Economic growth, social progress and cultural development in the region. Next, to promote and strengthen collective self-reliance. To promote and strengthen collective self-reliance. Among the countries of South Asia. And strengthen collective self-reliance. Next, to cooperate with international and regional organizations. To cooperate with international and regional organizations. With similar aims and purpose. Organizations with similar aim and purpose. Clear? So these are the some of the objectives of SAARC. Now write down India's contribution in the SAARC. India's contribution in SAARC. First point, India took sincere efforts for the formation of SAARC. India took sincere efforts for the formation of SAARC. Next, India due to its size, populations, economic and location. India due to its size, population, economic and location is important for SAARC. Important for SAARC. Next point, India has common land or sea border with. India has a common land or sea border with 6 of the 7 other members. Land or sea border with 6 out of 7 members. ठीक है, एक अफगानिस्तान के साथ नहीं है, बाकी सबके साथ या तो लैंड बाउंड्री शेयर कर रहा है या sea boundary, right? So 6 out of 7 and 1 is India. So total members are clear. Next point. Under South Asian Free Trade Agreement, SAFTA, under South Asian Free Trade Agreement, SAFTA, India has unilaterally offered duty-free access. Under SAFTA, India has unilaterally offered duty-free access on all items to the SAARC LDCs. Access on all items to the SAARC LDCs. LDCs means capital LDC. Capital में आप लिखिए LDC. LDCs means least developed countries, and has met the faith's second commitment for non-LDCs. Phase second, and has met the phase second commitment for non-LDC. For non-LDCs. Continue. India has zero tariff policy for goods coming from LDC. India has zero tariff policy for goods coming from LDCs. ठीक है. Next, the SAARC Development Fund, SDF. The SAARC Development Fund, SDF, is a sub-regional project SDF which finances sub-regional project envisaged under its SDF finances sub-regional project envisaged under its social, economic and infrastructure windows. Sub-regional project finances sub-regional project envisaged under its social, economic and infrastructure project. Continue कीजिए इस point को. India is the only country to have paid its assessed contribution. India has only country to paid its assessed contribution. Its assessed ASSED assessed contribution of 89.9 US dollar. Sorry, 89.9 million US dollar. US million US dollar, and a voluntary contribution of 100 million US dollar. Voluntary contribution of US 100 million US dollar. Next, a currency swap, SWAP, agreement for the region. A currency swap agreement for the region with a base fund of 2 billion US dollar from India, with a base fund of 2 billion US dollar from India, billion US dollar from India, provides short-term foreign exchange liquidity, provides short-term foreign exchange liquidity, short-term foreign exchange liquidity required by member states. मेंबर स्टेट मतलब जितने मेंबर हैं स्टेट्स जिनको शॉर्ट टर्म लिक्विडिटी चाहिए. नेक्स्ट, with the initiative of India, the member countries of SAARC has established a free trade area. With the initiative of India, the member countries of SAARC has established a free trade area, agreement नहीं, area, FTA, which will increase their internal trade which will increase their internal trade and lessen the trade gap considerably. And lessen means it will reduce the trade gap, और आप लिख सकते हैं and reduce the trade gap considerably. Clear? So this is an India's contribution in SAARC. Now write down challenges India's SAARC. नहीं हुई, लास्ट हुई थी वो 2016 में, जहाँ कोई गया ही नहीं. उरी अटैक के बाद मीटिंग हुई ही नहीं. कोई डेवलपमेंट है नहीं अभी रिसेंटली SAARC के. नहीं डिसबैंड तो नहीं, लेकिन कोई यूजफुल यूज है नहीं फिलहाल. आई मीन इन द रिसेंट, ड्यू टू पाकिस्तान का इन्वॉल्वमेंट की वजह से इंडिया इज अवॉइडिंग. और इंडिया ही एक मेजरली कंट्री है इसमें जो एवरीवन इज आल्सो एंगेज इन. इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे बात कर ही रहे हैं सब, तो अभी ऐसी कोई खास मीटिंग हुई नहीं है. पूरी के बाद तो बिल्कुल नहीं हुई, उसके बाद कोरोना ही आ गया. तो देयर वाज अ प्लान टू कंडक्ट एन दिस समिट, ऑनलाइन समिट. इंडिया गया ही नहीं, भूटान गया ही नहीं, चाइना गया ही नहीं, सॉरी नेपाल गया ही नहीं, पार्टिसिपेट ही नहीं किए ये लोग. तो अभी रिसेंटली कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं. तो SAARC से रिलेटेड करंट, दैट इज द लास्ट मीटिंग विच वाज हेल्ड इन पाकिस्तान 2006. पूरी अटैक के बाद से मीटिंग हुई थी. ठीक है, तो राइट डाउन द चैलेंजेस. first challenge, The small neighbor countries, the small neighbors country of SAARC the small neighbors countries of SAARC feel the big brother syndrome about India. Inverted comma में लिखेगा big brother syndrome. Big brother syndrome about India. India's, continue the point, India's large size of territory made India the most striking culprit in the eyes of its smaller neighbor. Striking culprit, C-U-L-P-R-I-T, culprit in the eyes of its smaller neighbor in SAARC. जलनशीलता, next, due to India's economic strength, scientific and technological development, due to economic strength, scientific and technological development, India is creating in the mind of smaller neighbors suspicions of dominations. The smaller neighbors, suspicions of dominations. उनको ऐसा लग रहा है कि इंडिया हमें डोमिनेट करेगा क्योंकि बहुत ह्यूज पॉपुलेशन, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ हो गया, डेवलपमेंट हो गया. तो इट माइट बी दे आर फीलिंग ऑफ ए सस्पिशन दैट इंडिया में डोमिनेट देम इन द रिलेशन, राइट. और पड़ोसियों से हम किसी से भी दब सकते हैं, पड़ोसियों से नहीं दब सकते. ह्यूमन नेचर, राइट. नेक्स्ट, Pakistan factor is a major obstacle to India's initiative in SAARC. Pakistan's factor is major obstacle to India's initiative in SAARC. In obstacles to India's initiative in SAARC. Next, I continue this point. India and few SAARC members boycotted 19th SAARC summit. India and few SAARC members boycotted 19th SAARC summit. Boycotted 19th SAARC summit, which was held in Islamabad. 19th 90 कैसे हो सकता है? 19वीं वही लास्ट वही हुई थी. 19th SAARC summit, which was held in Islamabad due to the Pakistan's sponsored terrorist attack on Uri camp. Due to the Pakistan sponsored terrorist attack on Uri camp, and ultimately it was scrapped. वो summit हुई नहीं फिर, ultimately it scrapped. Next challenge. Now next challenge is, major challenge is China. चाइना पाकिस्तान में भी एंटर कर रहा है. चाइना आपका बांग्लादेश में भी है, मालदीव्स में भी, श्रीलंका में भी, बांग्लादेश में भी वॉर इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है. तो क्लियर. नेक्स्ट, China's intervention in the South Asian country also one of the obstacle to India's initiative in SAARC. China's intervention in South Asian countries also one of the obstacle to India's initiative in SAARC. Obstacle India's initiative in SAARC. China has increasing influence. China has increasing influence in these countries by investing billion of dollars by investing billion of dollars and provide loans with subsidy. Next challenge. The small members of SAARC like Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka. The small members of SAARC like Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka considered India is to be the main source of threat. Considered India to be the main source of threat to their security. To their security. Comma, the role of extra regional power in the region. The role of extra regional power in the region to counter military threat, military might, to counter military might, MI, might, and military threat from India. Might, huge military, right, and military threat from India. The small nations, they are afraid from India related to their security. They are now engaging with the regional powers to stop or to mitigate this threat. Okay? These are the challenges. Now we will see the conclusion or way forward. Now write down the way forward. Write down first. Since India is alleged by smaller member of SAARC, for displaying a big brother attitude, it should change its policy and attitudes towards its neighbor. It should change its policies and attitude towards its neighbors. Continue the point. India should implement Gujarat doctrine more effectively. Implement Gujarat doctrine more effectively. Full stop. The doctrine consists principles. Write down the certain principles of the doctrine. First, doctrine of Gujarat doctrine related to SAARC. Acknowledging its greater strength and larger size. Acknowledging its greater strength and larger size. India will be accommodating and generous towards and generous towards her neighbors unilaterally. Unilaterally to the maximum possible extent. Without demanding reciprocity. We have done Gujarat doctrine, right? उसमें उन्होंने क्या कहा था? The Gujarat doctrine is that we should do not expect anything from the neighbors. अगर वो एक कदम बढ़ाते हैं तो हमें 100 कदम बढ़ाना चाहिए उनके लिए की तरह. Without any expectations, we need to help our neighbors. Right? This is a Gujarat doctrine. वही हम point यहाँ लिख रहे हैं related to SAARC also. Without demanding reciprocity. We have done the Gujarat doctrine. Just we are writing. Second point. India will react to both internal and external developments. India will react to both internal and external development in its neighborhood. From a moral high ground. Next, India will not allow its territory to be used. India will not allow its territory to be used to be used against the interest of its neighbor country. The interest of neighbor countries. Next, India will not interfere in the internal matter of India will not interfere the internal matter of neighboring countries. Next, India should respect the territorial integrity and national sovereignty. India should respect the territorial integrity and national sovereignty of all the states in the region. Of all the states, national integrity and territorial integrity and national sovereignty of all the states in the region. Next, India is determined to settle all its disputes. India is determined to settle all its disputes through peaceful bilateral negotiations. Through peaceful bilateral negotiations. Okay, so these are the principles under the doctrine, Gujral doctrine, which is suggested to be followed in letter and spirit by India. Okay, now second suggestion, second point in the way forward. India should act as more generosity towards neighbor countries by providing in terms of infrastructure, energy, water, infrastructure, energy, water, trade, climate change mitigation, higher education, healthcare, and military cooperation. Next, India should contain the China's intervention South Asia region. India contain the China's intervention South Asian region by implement the democratic principles and non-neocolonialism What is neocolonialism? कॉलोनियलिज्म पता है आपको, एम्पायर दूसरा कॉलोनी बना लेना. नियो कॉलोनियलिज्म कैसे, कॉलोनी कैसे बनाते थे पहले? बाय एक्वायरिंग, कैप्चरिंग टेरिटरी. न्यू कॉलोनियलिज्म बाय इकोनॉमिक प्रोसेस, डेट ट्रैप जो है वो, राइट. So it is talking about that non-neocolonialism, मतलब इकोनॉमिक डेट ट्रैप से भी बचाना है. And non-neocolonialism, which are promoting the trust in the neighborhood countries, which are promoting the trust in the neighborhood countries. Next, India should try to minimize its tension with Pakistan. India should minimize its tension with Pakistan because without Pakistan cooperation, SAARC objectives should not be materialized. SAARC objectives should Next point, India should try to take initiative India should try to take initiatives to minimize the tension for the sake of two countries that is India and Pakistan in the region. Clear? Okay, so this is India and SAARC. Write an answer on this. Next topic is India and SCO. Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is known as a SCO. दिख रहा है ये? तो वाइट कर देता हूँ. ठीक है. तो SCO was formed in SCO नाम कब पड़ा इसका? There is a story. In 1969 Shanghai Cooperation was formed और शुरू में इसका नाम क्या पड़ा? Shanghai 5. So in 1969 when it was formed, दिख रहा है ना? This white color is visible ना? Right? So in 1969 it was formed as a Shanghai 5. ठीक है. Why? Because there are 5 members who has formed it. China, Russia, Kazakhstan और Turkmenistan and Kyrgyzstan. Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Russia and China. Right? Then in 2001 the Uzbekistan was included. में उज्बेकिस्तान का इंक्लूजन होता है and after the inclusion of Uzbekistan into the Shanghai 5 it is came to be known as SCOs, Shanghai Cooperation. Clear? ठीक है. So in 2001 there are 5. In 2005 India and Pakistan were given an observer status. फुल मेंबरहुड नहीं था उनका पास, ऑब्जर्वर स्टेटस था कि वहां जो भी हो रहा है दे कैन बी ऑब्जर्व एंड दे कैन पार्टिसिपेट. सो इन 2005 वी कैन से 2005 India and Pakistan was allotted ऑब्जर्वर स्टेटस, ठीक है। अभी फुल मेंबरशिप है, इंडिया फुल मेंबर है एससीओ का, यस। एंड दिस फुल मेंबरशिप वाज ग्रांटेड इन 2017। ये जो पाकिस्तान और इंडिया को 2005 में ऑब्जर्वर स्टेटस प्रोवाइड की थी, तो इन 2017 दे आर बीन इंक्लूडेड एज अ फुल मेंबर ऑफ एससीओ। इज इट क्लियर? ठीक है, so that's why we are studying the India's relation with SCOs. हाँ, so this is the all the full members of SCO. You can go through this. Russia is a founding members of the SCO. Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Then China is a full membership, and Tajikistan was a founding member. Uzbekistan was added in 2001, and from the Shanghai 5 the name given is Shanghai Cooperation. Then India and Pakistan was included in the 2005 as an observer state, and in 2017 it is given full membership. Is it clear? Yes or no? ट्रेन हो गए, एनर्जी चली गई, ऑपरेशन, डेवलपमेंट, ये सब क्लियर? चलिए कोई नहीं, so this is just an introduction. We'll continue the next, and it's a high chance that tomorrow will be the last class. और वो 2 घंटे ही चलेगी, not more than that, but tomorrow will be the last class. 11 to 1 हमारी टाइमिंग है, ठीक है। और कुछ 1-2 टॉपिक्स रह जाए, जैसे मान लीजिए डायस्पोरा एंड एवरीथिंग, तो आई विल प्रोवाइड यू द पीडीएफ ऑफ दैट। लिखने का कोई ये है, पीडीएफ विल बी गिवन, ठीक है। चलिए देन, थैंक यू, विल मीट इन द नेक्स्ट क्लास। आज आप लोग ज़्यादा ड्रेन आउट दिख रहे हैं।